Welcome to Mary Queen Stories, the official podcast of Mary Queen of the Holy Rosary Parish in Lexington, Kentucky. Our mission is to receive God's love, proclaim the greatness of the Lord, serve joyfully, and make missionary disciples of Jesus Christ. I'm your host, Jennifer Longworth, Communications and Parish Life Coordinator at Mary Queen. Today's guest is Marty Brown of the St. Joseph Helpers, also a longtime parishioner of Mary Queen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How long have you and Amy been at Mary Queen?
Amy grew up in the parish. She was one of the first families, the Kissel family. But then I joined back in 1987, 88, so long time.
And now you're here to represent St. Joseph Helpers, which is a new ministry to Mary Queen, but it's been around for a while. The mission statement is St. Joseph Helpers is an organization founded on Christian values made up of men and women who volunteer their time and talents to help those in need to feel safe and secure in their home. So tell us a little bit about St. Joseph Helpers.
St. Joseph's Helpers is it's a nonprofit, a 501c3. It's up in Michigan. It's a little bit west of Detroit. And I'll give you a little bit of the backstory of how I found out about it. First, I worked at IBM Lexmark for a long time. And then I had this voice in the back of my head saying, retire, quit. And I did. And I started teaching at Lexington Catholic, and I taught there for 10 years, math and programming. And then while I was there, the last 5 years or so, I told my wife, whenever I retire from teaching, I want to just help people in the parish, just do odds and ends, just jobs around the house and so forth. And so one day, it was about 2 years ago, I was Googling, it was a Sunday afternoon, and I typed in something like help parishioners, homes, fix, or something like that. And I had done that multiple times for a few months. But I found a hit, and it was sjhelpers.org. And I went to the website, and I read all about it. It's up in Michigan. And I thought, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. I went to the website, and you can send a message to them, right, an email through the system. I don't know their email. I just typed in the web form. I introduced myself and said, hey, this is exactly what I want to do. Whenever you have time, send me an email or, give me a call. And I left my phone number. And I expected to get a response in a week or two or something. 10 minutes later, I got an email saying, yeah, my name is Tony Rosati, and here's my number. I'd be glad to talk to you. So I turned to my wife and I said, well, let's see what happens. So I called up and I talked for about an hour. And I asked him a million questions. My wife, it took her about 15 years to get used to all my questions.
Well, you've got that engineering curious brain.
Right,
so.
Right. All the questions I asked him, his answers were great. And I said, at the end of the hour, I said, I don't know how I can recreate this down here in Lexington. I'm only one guy and I'm still teaching. And he said, recreate, just sign on with us. They have a 10-year goal of being nationwide. And I said, wow. And he said, yeah, you'll be covered on insurance and everything. And I said, well, that sounds good. And he said, let's talk in person. So he offered to drive down here from, it's up near Ann Arbor, I think. And I thought, you can't drive all that way. So I drove up to Dayton, Ohio, and he drove down there. We met for lunch, talked for an hour or two. And then, so I started to work on it. I spoke at all the parish masses at Mary Queen about a little over a year ago. And we had 30 people sign up to help, and that was the most ever they've ever had up in Michigan on a Sunday weekend. From that, about 4 or 5 people have really latched on it and are doing it. I wasn't able to do a whole lot my last year of teaching. I was just busy teaching. But now that I am retired after 10 years at Catholic, my full-time volunteer mission is to try to spread the word. So right now I'm doing both. I'm doing jobs. Joe Gazala is a parishioner here. He has helped a lot. Larry Cornett has helped a couple times, and a few others outside the parish. But I'm also trying to get the word out, and I'm going to transition to just trying to get the word out. That's how I got there. I could tell a few stories later about where I think the Holy Spirit was actually leading me towards this. But St. Joseph Helpers is an organization up in Michigan and here in Kentucky now. And the goal, the mission is to go into people's homes and do small home repair to keep them safe. So the most common job would be to put a grab bar in a tub shower area. We put in a railing, railings on both sides for someone to get up 2 or 3 steps to get into their house. We've changed light bulbs. We've replaced the toilet. So things like that. It has to be less, generally, it has to be less than $1,500 per the insurance. We have insurance. If we go in there and we flood the house, we screw something up plumbing-wise, the client is covered. If I go in and I hurt myself, then I'm covered.
That's definitely a benefit to going with them instead of doing it on your own, right? Right. What I'm hearing also, this isn't like major home repairs. This is just little safety things.
Correct.
Okay. That's a good thing to distinguish you from other programs that are out there. Right now, you're still looking for help?
Most definitely, yes.
Have you gotten a response for people needing help?
I've reached out to some home health organizations so that they're going into people's homes. They see the need. I've been in contact with Lexington Senior Center over on Life Lane, over on the east side of town. A Caring Place, we're partnering with them. A Caring Place is a great nonprofit. They have multiple missions, but their main one is to set up phone buddies one-on-one so that they can call people on a regular basis, elderly in their homes, to fight depression, isolation.
Oh, that's great.
But they do go into their homes sometimes. So if they get in there, they can see needs and they can contact us. So they've already referred people to us. St. Joseph Helpers up in Michigan has only been in existence for just over 3 years. So
it's very, okay.
Very early. Last year in Michigan and in Kentucky, we helped a total of about 1,700 people. Well, let me back up and give you the whole process. Okay. We have field volunteers and office volunteers. So up in Michigan, there's office volunteers where men and women, mostly women, I think, would go in and they help in the office. They take phone calls, they do clerical work and things like that. Field volunteers, it's both men and women, but more so men. They would sign up to actually go into people's homes and do work. So if a person wants to be a field volunteer, they can go to our website, sjhelpers.org, type in their information, their application. We do a background check on them to make sure everything's good there. And once that is completed, then they are sent a T-shirt. It's a maroon T-shirt with a SJ Helpers logo on the breast. We ask for the volunteer's picture. They can choose which one they send, and then also what kind of car or truck they drive. And then also the field volunteer gets a user ID and password to log on to the website in a different part of the website. So they can log on to see what jobs need to be done in their area. And they'll look at it and say, hey, that's close enough to me. I can get there. And yeah, that's plumbing. No, I can't do plumbing, but electrical work, yeah, I can do that. So let me pick that one. And then they say, okay, I'll pick 2 different dates and times that I can go out. I can go out Saturday at 9 and Monday at 4 or whatever. Then the office staff up in Michigan, they actually contact the client and say, hey, these 2 times, which one works best? Once they have that, then the client is sent a picture. They say, hey, Marty Brown's going to come out. This is what he looks like. He's going to be driving a blue truck. So that gives some a little sense of safety and comfort to the person. Depending on what you're going to do, the supplies are sent to either the field volunteer's house or the client's house. And then the volunteer will go out there, complete the job, and then when they leave, they'll do a closeout process. If they have any receipts that they had to go buy, some screws or glue or whatever it might be, and they'll get reimbursed by St. Joseph Helpers. And once that closeout process is finished, then the office volunteers will then send out a packet in the mail to the client asking feedback. How did it go? Did Marty do a good job? Did he, was he polite or, whatever? And then there's an envelope also that the client can make a free will offering to cover any of the costs of the supplies. If they give a lot, then we can actually help more people down the road. If they can't give anything at all, then the job is free.
So this is a donation-based organization, 501c3, so that's probably something else you're always looking for as well to help fund this, right?
Correct, right. So people can make donations. A lot of the money that we get right now is grants and foundations that we're applying for.
That's great. I mean, you're doing something good, something kind of unique in our area anyway. I don't hear about this type of program. I hear more about major home repairs, not so much just these little safety things.
Right. So one question I asked when I talked to Tony in the very beginning is, isn't this going to take business away from small, businesses, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And he said, no, people don't want to mess with anything this small, right? So less than $1,500, we're not gonna put a guy out of business, I don't think.
So you alluded earlier that the Holy Spirit kind of was nudging you in this direction. I want to hear more about that story.
Well, I'm a kind of a computer geek. I'm a computer engineer, and it's funny. After I did that Google search and I found it, I tried to recreate that and type it in, and I never could get it again. I never could find St. Joseph Helpers by typing in what I thought I typed in. And I tried, and like once a week or so, it would pop into my head, and I would type something, and I couldn't recreate it. I looked through the Google, the Chrome history. I saw the first date that I went to sjhelpers.org, but I couldn't find it. And it just kind of baffled me. And I'm like, the older I get, the more I think coincidences just aren't coincidences. They're God winks or God moments. 6 months later, I think I figured out what I did. I was in Facebook, and I typed that in Facebook.
Oh.
So I went into Facebook and typed that, and then I found it. And I was like, I never go on Facebook. I used to have a lot of friends in Facebook, and then I just found that I was wasting too much time. I was teaching, and I was like, I'm wasting too much time. So I defriended everybody, and my wife, my kids, everybody. But I just kept it so I could buy something on Marketplace or something like that. But for some reason, I was in Facebook when I typed that. I don't know why. So that just kind of makes me think. Another example is I was thinking, well, I've got a Honda CRV hatchback. I'm like, I can't really throw stuff like in the back of that to do some work with St. Joseph Helpers. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna buy a truck. I don't want to buy a big truck. I don't want a gas guzzler. So I looked, and I decided on getting a Ford Maverick hybrid. It's a real small truck. My neighbor across the street laughs at me. He's got a Ford F-150, but that's okay. And so I looked, and I finally found the one I wanted, and I found it up in Cincinnati, on the northwest side of Cincinnati. And so I called up the dealership, and I told them what I was looking for, and I said, hey, you've got one, blah, blah, blah. And the guy said, how did you see that? And I'm like, I found it online. And it's like, I didn't think we put it out there yet.
Wow.
Okay, that's kind of odd. But I thought, no, that's not God wink. He just didn't know it was out there on the web. So then I went up there to pick it up, and I had never been there before. And as most people do, we just type in on Google, hey, Google, take me there. And you know how Google will save like 10 seconds by taking you through a neighborhood.
Yes. Taking you around the lights.
Yeah. And so I was just blindly following Google. And the very last street I was on, before I turned onto the main road where the dealership was, the name of it was Joseph Lane.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, oh, come on. You got to be kidding me.
That's cool.
As I started working with St. Joseph Helpers, and I asked a million questions, and they said that they usually get supplies from a hardware store up there. And this hardware store is all over up in Michigan. And the name of it is Great Lakes Ace Hardware. It makes sense. Great Lakes, Michigan, and so forth. Well, about a year ago, so I live out in Dogwood Trace, and we're real close to the Belle Reve Kroger shopping center. And there was a hardware store on the end of there, and it was a True Value hardware store. And it went out of business. It was sold. And I thought nothing of it. I thought, okay, that's a bummer. It was nice to pick up something little. And they had a sale, and they liquidated and everything. I got a few deals and so forth. And then, what do you think the name of the hardware store that went into there and replaced it?
Probably an Ace.
Great Lakes Hardware Store.
Great Lakes Hardware? Even Great Lakes?
Yes.
Not just Ace.
And I saw Great Lakes. I thought, Great Lakes, that's odd. And then it just kind of clicked.
Oh, wow.
And then I've Googled since then. There are, I think, 3 Great Lakes hardware stores in Kentucky, and 2 of them are up in North Kentucky, and there's one in Lexington, which is like 3 streets away from my house. So I'm thinking, okay, God, okay, you told me about the organization. I got a truck. I drove on Joseph Lane. And then there's a hardware store that he had come in, Great Lakes, the same one they use up there. So my middle name is Joseph. My confirmation name is Joseph. So I think I need to work on this organization.
Yeah, yeah. So how can other people get involved with the organization?
So you can go to sjhelpers.org, and you can sign up as a volunteer, fill out the information. If you need help, you can go to the website as well and type in your information. Or what most people do is call the 1-800 number. It's on the website, 1-800-303-5075. So that's all you've got to do, really.
And if people still want more information, is the best way to go to the website, or can they contact you?
They can contact me if they like. My email is Marty B, MARTYB, at sjhelpers.org, or they can call my cell phone, 859-433-3103. I would like to tell you one story. There's a gentleman that has cancer. He lives down in Richmond, Kentucky. He and his wife are down there, and he was referred to us. I think it was through a caring place, and we went down there, and he needed grab bars put in, and his tub and shower is a fiberglass. And so fiberglass is a little bit harder to install because it flexes, but there is a special mount that you find the stud behind it and install it. So we went down there, installed it, 2 grab bars, one outside on the drywall, one on the fiberglass. And it was really rewarding to help him because, as we found out from his daughter, that he had not taken a shower in 2.5 months. He actually fell once. He didn't feel safe, so they were doing sponge baths. But so we got in there, and he was able to get a shower. So one of my biggest fears is to try to grow the demand and the supply at the same rate. And I've said that to a few different people. One was Tony Rosati, the president. One was someone else that I was trying to get involved. And he said, "Oh, Marty, you can't worry about that. It'll just all work out."
Yeah.
So yes, we do have both. We have the need of, I'm trying to get the word out, who needs it, and then who can actually help. One other question I asked Tony is, there's going to be people that take advantage of us, right? People that are wealthy that could do it on their own. And he said, "Yep, you're right." And he said, "We'll just let God worry about that." So we do not, there's no income guidelines at all. So if people that have plenty of money call us, we'll go ahead and do it. And hopefully, that's not required, but hopefully they'll give a good donation that'll help us help someone else down the road. So we'll help anybody. Yeah, if someone calls in and they need help, the office staff knows basically what all we can do. Okay. And they'll say, "Yeah, we can do that," or "No, we can't," or whatever. Someone up in Michigan called in and said, "Hey, I've got a boat down at my lake that I need a dock built. Can you do that for me?" And we said, "Well, that doesn't really fit our mission of keeping you safe in your home. So no, we can't do that." We don't do painting, for instance, because that's sort of just, cosmetic, and that doesn't keep them safe. So
because your vision statement is that every home in this country is a safe and secure place to live. So that's the vision and what you guys are really after. Correct.
Now we have added one other mission. There's only 4 people that are actually paid employees, and all the rest are volunteers. 2 of them are paid through the fundraising we have, and I think 2 or possibly 3 others are paid through grants. So AARP actually funds one person, a part-time person, but everyone else is volunteers. One person that is a paid employee, her name is Julie Carpenter, and some 15 years ago or so, she started something called Julie's List. And she had a website called Julie's List, and people could go there for help. So she wanted to sort of collect all the different resources that are in the area that could help people into one spot. She would have that website, actually, and then you can go through there and look in the Michigan area to figure out what you needed, where you needed to go to get help. And so they're expanding that. So they've reached out to an individual. He has an IT company. It's in Florida now, of all things, but he is going to help revamp the website, and they are expanding. So now you can go to sjhelpers.org and scroll down, and then there's Julie's list. You can click on that. And then they have a picture of the United States, and you can zoom in on your area and then type in, just like a Google search essentially, type in what you need, and it'll pull up. It'll search it won't search the web. It'll search our database for resources that have been called and verified and that they're good and so forth. And that gives you a way to get help. So you can go to Lexington, Kentucky and say, food, and then probably God's Pantry or other ones will come up. So that's a mission as well, because a lot of times people don't know where they need to go to get help, and they'll call up St. Joseph Helpers, and then they walk them through. So if they have to then call someone else, they won't just give them the number, but they'll actually then possibly do a 3-way call. So the office worker at St. Joseph Helpers would then call that agency, keep the elderly person on the phone, sort of walk them through it and help them. So, in fact, a lot of our calls, we probably have more calls where we're helping people that way than by going into the homes and doing repair. Currently, with a 501c3, you have to, in the state of Kentucky, you have to register on a county basis, which is not true for all states. I don't know why there's a difference. But in Kentucky, you do. And you may have to go out there and just fill out a form. A lot of them, you got to pay $100 or whatever. But as of right now, we are set up so we can do work in Fayette County and then the surrounding 8 counties around us. So I've done a job in Richmond. I've done one in Paris, done one in Georgetown, and of course a lot in Lexington. So that's the area that we can do now. So if you're listening and you have friends like possibly in Louisville or in Eastern Kentucky or somewhere else, Northern Kentucky, and they would like to do this, then please give me a call, and I would love to talk to them.
Yeah, and expand it, because like you said, St. Joseph Helpers in Michigan wants to be nationwide. At least we can be Kentucky-wide, right? Yeah, you start baby steps, be statewide.
That's correct. Just a few days ago, I was talking to Tony, and he can actually see Canada from his home, and he's got friends, and he actually has family members over in Canada, and so there's someone there that wants to start it. So it may be international here.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what I like to ask everyone at the end of the show is, which part of the Mary Queen mission statement resonates with you the most? And as a review, the mission of Mary Queen is to receive God's love, proclaim the greatness of the Lord, serve joyfully, and make missionary disciples of Jesus Christ.
I would have to say serve joyfully. St. Joseph Helpers, St. Joseph is in the name. It was started by Catholics. It was actually, there's Father Foley. He started Cristo Rey up there in Detroit. He was on the board, or he was on the initial board to start the organization. And they worked on the mission statement. And after writing it, they had Catholic in it. And he said, "Oh, you don't want to help non-Catholics?" And he said, No, we'll help anybody. So they scrubbed it. And then they said, "Oh, you don't want to help Muslims?" Because apparently there's a lot of Muslims up in the Detroit area. And they said, no, we'll help anybody. And so, so they did, we don't want to back away from being Catholic or Christian, but to that end, that's why the mission statement is St. Joseph Helpers is an organization founded on Christian values. That being said, whenever I've gone into people's homes, I'd look for opportunities to evangelize and share my faith, right? Not overtly, but whenever there's an opportunity, I can sneak that in, then I do. So
yeah, that's great. I was wondering about that too, if there was opportunity to do that. I mean, sharing the love of Christ through service is not a bad thing to.
No.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Marty.
Thank you very much.
Again, for more information, visit sjhelpers.org or call 1-800-303-5075. Thank you for listening to Mary Queen Stories. To connect with us, visit mqhr.org/podcast. Until next time, and always, Mary Queen of the Holy Rosary, pray for us.